Hello, my name is Daisy Clark, and this is my presentation on personality theory, pop culture versus real America. Today's assignment aims to compare Kanye West and a peer from my Facebook page, which I created a pseudonym of Noah Willite. In doing so, I will loosely define each perspective of personality and then utilize that perspective to analyze the chosen subjects. Once those observations are explored, we will conclude and proceed to the references. Psychodynamic theory is a broad personality perspective that suggests a deeper meaning behind certain feelings and actions originating from the subconscious or deeper mind. Behavioral theory is a learning theory that focuses on how one learns, ultimately viewing personality and behavior as one and the same, also suggesting that inheritance has little regard to how one operates in the social world. Social learning theory is the idea that people can learn by observation and the imitation of the surrounding environment, a social chameleon, if you will. Trait theory is the idea that certain psychological traits accurately describe people. These traits can be seen as categories that individuals can fit into, while recognizing certain strengths and weaknesses to determine the all-encompassing result. And lastly, humanistic theory, the idea that people develop as a result of finding their greater good or life purpose, inadvertently suggesting people are incapable of intentional evil. This is a comparison of the personal details between Kanye West and Noah Willite. After reviewing this slide, one could see an even proportion of similarities and differences between the two subjects. One thing to note is both are divorced and have unstable interpersonal skills regarding personal relationships. Feel free to pause the video if you need to take an extra minute to take a look at those details. For the psychodynamic observations, it's publicly known and identified that Kanye's issues stem from deep within. Regarding Freud's sexual component in his theory, Kanye has a hyper-awareness to people's sexual curiosities and very aggressively controls women in his life because of it. There are also indications of trauma from his mother's passing. For Noah, there are high-risk factors from childhood, abusive parenting, drug, alcohol abuse, and he was also a juvenile delinquent. He has an anxious attachment style, low self-esteem, needs validation, craves intimacy, but pushes it away in fear of judgment. Trauma indication from prior marriage, adultery, physical abuse from spouse, restriction from support system, family, and friends. Both have a significant trauma present, albeit Noah has a more significant trauma reported. It is publicly known that Kanye suffers from bipolar disorder, and personally, I am aware that Noah suffers from anxiety. These are easily a display of deep psychological pain. Now, regarding Freud's highlight of sexual motivations and curiosities to develop personality, Kanye seems to have that increased awareness, and it's causing a rift in his relationship with his ex-wife and daughters. Noah's sexual component is displayed in his attachment style, but ultimately he isolates in fear of rejection. So that's an isolating behavior there. Behavioral observations. Kanye West's mood and social appropriateness often correlate with each other. Often posts personal problems and publicizes personal traumas. Could be due to his profession, however. His actions mirror how he expresses he feels inside. Noah, his mood and social interaction often correlate with each other. He does not publicize personal traumas unless absolutely necessary. Actions mirror how he expresses he feels inside. Now, a very important note here is the behaviors of the subject are vastly different, right? Noah isolates, Kanye reacts outwardly. The similarity lies in how their actions truly display the feelings that they are experiencing. Social learning observations. Kanye West does not blend in with his social environment. He is striving to create his own individual legacy and only utilizes the social learning skills to capitalize on music releases to make money. Now, what does this say? This means that he has social learning knowledge, and it enables him to immerse himself into the surrounding society, understand what they want to hear, and create music accordingly and capitalize on that. However, in his personal life, he does not blend in. He is not a chameleon by all means. Now, Noah, the military taught him to conform. He is dedicated to technical abilities, political skills, and interpersonal skills. However, I want to highlight that point is not in a personal aspect at all, only professional. He's often confused about his legacy, wants to follow suit with the American dream, family, kids, achieve his goals, feels inept because recognizable disconnect in close relationships, therefore cannot accomplish that goal right above, feels as though he's only good at work, so he wants to capitalize on only that. For social learning, there's a big difference that is heavily influenced by the occupations of the subjects in question. The military facilitates an environment where work comes before all else and to follow suit with the mission. However, Noah wishes he wasn't confined and could have the American dream family, but does not seek it out due to that low self-esteem. Now, Kanye capitalizes on his ability to be different and not conform at all. He is passionate about his legacy to a point where one could argue that he neglects the needs of his family to do so. Trait observations. For Kanye West, openness. He prefers change and innovativeness. He needs that for his career. Conscientiousness, prefers flexibility to achieve goals and doesn't want to feel confined. I feel like the media outlets have definitely capitalized on that and brought that up plenty times. Extroversion, extremely open to other people and very outgoing. Absolutely. Agreeableness, tough-minded and dispassionate to others' feelings. This is definitely in almost every article you will read right now. Neuroticism, very reactive, constantly feels threatened by others and makes a scene often about it. Those last 2 points, you Google him right now and I promise you will find an article that displays at least one of those trait observations there. For Noah, openness, prefers stability, can't accept new or intrusive ideas. I cannot stress that one enough. That stability probably comes from the military. Conscientiousness, prefers to have organization and a predictable lifestyle, cannot accept unreliability. I have seen this man's home. It is clean, immaculate. Punctuality is so important. Never late. He loves lists. I cannot stress enough how important that organization is. Extroversion, extremely introverted. Often stays home and backs out of plans 50% of the time. Very reserved and quiet. If he's sticking up for somebody who works underneath him, he will say what he needs to say. If it's something about him, he would rather not stir the pot and, grin and bear it, as they say. That isolation that we've talked about has a lot to do with that introvertedness. It's almost like he has become accustomed to his regular behavior there. Agreeableness, neutral standpoint, only empathetic when he has gone through the exact scenario himself. If he hasn't, there is a large disconnect. This is a big one. This is a really, really big one. If he has not been in the same situation with all the same details to a T, he will not even comment on it. He will have no advice. He cannot close his eyes and pretend that he's you for a second and put himself in your shoes. That's not a thing. He'll let you vent. He will listen, but that's about all you're going to get there. For neuroticism, he's very resilient, works well under pressure, and recovers quickly from stress. I feel like that's definitely good for the professional environment. However, I will say personally, a high functioning individual can come off as resilient inaccurately. So I do want to identify that gap there. This slide is rather in depth and allows a close look at how the subjects in question operate in their world. However, since I personally know Noah Willite, there is a possibility for more accurate and precise information than what the media portrays of Kanye. So not only, I pointed out that last gap, I'd also like to point out I'm completely going off of the media's portrayal of Kanye West. I do not personally know him. So this is a very different evaluation here between the two subjects. Humanistic Observations. Kanye West, he often doesn't follow treatment for his bipolar disorder because the medications make him foggy. He's also been known to say in interviews that the medications stunt his creativity. He wants to create a good environment for his kids, but constantly performs public actions that create a harmful environment. Seeks out to be a provider for his family, but focuses too much on his work skills. Noah acknowledges drinking problem, but makes no efforts to stop. I would like to highlight and say he doesn't get obliterated drunk every single night. He just steady drinks every day. Some people do believe that makes a difference, so I wanted to offer that information in case anybody wanted that. He wants a family, but makes no effort to create a stable environment for one. This goes hand in hand with the next point. Impulsively applies for jobs all over the world with no regard to how it affects the future. He does not invest in the future outside the military by continuing education, professional development, etc. Considering the explanation of humanistic theory, one could argue that both subjects are not developing positively on their journey to finding their purpose. It seems more as though they are both in denial of their own realities and are navigating through it the best they can, considering the unmanaged disorders involved with each of them. From the outside looking in, things might look easy to fix, but when they are both dealing with unmediated mental disorders and or abuse disorders, this can severely impair their ability to have positive impacts on their own life while successfully navigating the things they are striving for, like these goals that we keep seeing throughout the slides. Okay, and now our conclusion. From a psychodynamic perspective, Kanye and Noah both have indications of their current actions resulting from deep psychological pain. Behaviorally, they both display how they feel through their behavioral tendencies, regardless of those behaviors being different. For the learning theory perspective, they are very different, with Noah being military and being reprogrammed to operate differently and conform. Trait theory evaluations highlighted on the true differences between the two. That allows for a more specific analytics on both subjects. Humanistic showed that there is a common goal for both men, but they are both struggling to achieve that goal. Really simplified version there. And then here's the references that inspired most of this presentation here. If you want to perform some additional research with these sources, have a conversation, let me know. I appreciate your time, and I look forward to seeing your comments, questions, and concerns below in the discussion post. Have a wonderful weekend, everyone. Don't be shy. Reach out if you have questions. Thank you so much.